Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us on the Tuesday Tirade Entertainment Talk. We have a very special guest with us, Steve Kenobi. Hey, Steve, how's it going, buddy?
It's going quite well. Making chicken.
All right.
It's dinner time in Norway. And
All right.
yeah, doing quite well.
Very, very good.
Happy to be on. It's always fun to be on.
Well, I'm glad you're here. It was a pleasant surprise that you were available today, and I was like, oh yeah, let's have Steve. And Tom is here with from Midnight's Edge After Dark. Of course, let me move us around because Tom should be over here. There we go. Then it matches the pictures down below. Tom, how's it going, buddy? You doing really well?
Hanging in there, doing the best I can as always, and that's all they're going to get out of me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all you can ask for. And, you know, everybody has the challenges of the everyday stuff. And of course, I'm doing very well. I love Tuesdays. I love this time of day. We get to talk about some of the stuff that we love and some of the things that we're frustrated about because they involve the things that we love. And I thought we would start out right away. With a quick story while the audience fills in that everybody must have just found out. And it's not something that some of us are going to be very happy with. It's, of course, the fact that they had to delay Cyberpunk 2077 again, which is, I think, less than ideal. But, you know, they seem to have, you know, defined why they did it. And, of course, the game has theoretically already gone gold. But let me read their statement really quick, and then we'll talk about this just for a few minutes, if you guys don't mind. The statement reads, hey everyone. Today, we've decided to move the release date of Cyberpunk 2077 by 21 days. The new release date is December 10th. Most likely, there are many emotions and questions in your head, so first and foremost, please accept our humble apologies. The biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of it. Xbox One and X compatibility on Xbox Series X, S, and X, PS4 and PS4 Pro, compatibility on PS5, PC, and Stadia. No one cares about Stadia. While working from home. Well, of course, they're all working from home. Most people are right now, I think, except if you work in an actual shop. But anyway, since Cyberpunk 2077 evolved towards almost being a next-gen title somewhere along the way, we need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly. We're aware it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do. Some of you might also be wondering what the words mean in light of us saying that we'd achieved Gold Master some time ago. Passing certification, or going gold, means the game is ready, can be completed, and has all of its contents in it. But it doesn't mean we stop working on it and raising the quality bar. On the contrary, this is the time where many improvements are being made, which will be distributed via a day zero patch, which that happens all the time, guys. I mean, we get that one giant patch after the game has gone gold and been delivered. And you know what? It takes us an extra 20 minutes to get to our game, but sometimes that's very much worth it. And continuing, this is the time period that we undercalculated. We feel we have an amazing game on our hands and are willing to make every decision, even the hardest ones, if it ultimately leads you to getting a video game that you'll fall in love with. Yours, Adam Badowski and Marcin Iwinski. And you know what? I accept that. I think that's a solid statement. And as a gamer, I'm not terribly I'm disappointed I'm not getting it sooner, but I'm excited that at least I know this game will not be Fallout 76. Now, I want to start with Stieg because of his vast experience in the gaming world and say, how do you feel about this, Stieg? You good with it?
Yeah, completely fine with it.
Yeah.
If it increases the chance of the game being as good as possible on release date, sure. You know,
Yeah.
um, people have been waiting for this game for I don't know 3 years, 4 years.
Maybe
Um,
longer.
yeah,
Maybe
and
longer.
what's another 21 days?
Not
You know,
not not not
um,
that long.
yeah, there's so many other games out there that you can play in the meantime. You know, it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not bothered by it at all, and I trust this company because they've done nothing but good things um, in the past. So they have my vote.
Yeah, and they have mine too. Tom, I know that video games are not movies or television, but we kind of feel the same way about both, I think. What do you think?
It's got Keanu Reeves in it. But as you can see, if it doesn't have Pack in the title or a fighting game,
Or a gremlin.
well, they don't make good Gremlin games. And they stopped. They didn't do the. They were going to make a really cool one for PS2, and it never came out. Like you were
That's a
supposed to
bummer.
be both a Gremlin or a Gizmo, and yeah, it was supposed to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's because if you splash water on the PS2, it breaks.
Yeah, but
There is
don't you
that
feel
problem.
like don't you feel like sometimes when there's a movie that it's undercooked, that maybe if they don't like delayed it just a few more weeks and baked a little more in, you think it would have been better?
Oh yeah, I mean, do
Cats?
I? Well, that should have just never been made altogether. I think even what's his face, Andrew Lloyd Webber, was like, I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. And my thoughts, I've always made it clear. I just want a good game, even though going to have an amazing gaming streaming rig that'll be delivered here in the next few days. And this delays my opportunity to play this game. I just know it'll be even that much more sweet when I do get to play it. So I'm not upset. Their verbiage is a little rough, but I understand their point of view. And at least whatever platform you end up playing this game on, you're going to run into many fewer problems
Yeah.
than you would
Also,
have otherwise.
also they're giving each gen because we're in between two gens now, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they're giving the old one the same attention as the new one, which
Mhm.
is something other companies don't. Because I remember when the Xbox One and PS uh, what is it 4 came out.
Yeah, yeah. From 3 to 4. Yep.
EA was releasing the new Dragon Age game
Right.
made by BioWare,
Yep.
and the Xbox 360 game of version of it sucked ass. It was it was bad, really bad
Right.
compared to the Xbox One version. So they basically just ditched the previous gen owners to focus on the new one. And CD Projekt Red is not doing that, and that alone, I think, speaks volumes of their
Yeah.
respect for the customers.
Well, that's the thing we all ask for. Respect for the customers. Now, before the chat starts to jump on me, I want to say hello to everybody that's here so far, because we've got 37 people here, and I just want to say thank you all for being here. We have Louvrian and Makara saying good day, one and all. We have Terry Rose. Terry Rose, I know that means long life, love, and peace, or long life, peace, and health, or something. I don't remember exactly what that is, but I know that it's from from a program, a very famous program. Yeah, we're going to get around to the Blockbuster thing, which was the key issue that we were going to talk about today, but the video game jumped out at us really fast. Diablo Dame, thank you for being here, and good afternoon to you. Machiny90 is out there promoting the stream and being a wonderful moderator. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Machini. We have great co-hosts with us today, both Bat Tom and Steed Kenobi. Please make sure that you subscribe if you're not to Steed Kenobi, because we want to peer pressure him into a new top 5 list. So he needs to get to 450 so we get a new top 5 list. So let's get him over to 450, guys. I know that he doesn't want to do that, but I want him to do that. Wookiee Supremacy is here. How's it going, buddy? M. Dastardly, hello. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. Just saw you on a stream. Actually heard your voice for the first time. That was pretty cool. Jake D is here. Guys, subscribe to Jake D. Probably one of the coolest up and coming YouTubers that we've got right now. Just kicked off his channel not too long ago and already is growing like a weed. Very impressive voice, in my opinion. Keck44, hello and howdy. We've got Captain Trek here. Captain Trek, probably see you tonight over on the Trekking Tuesdays with Wes Moody, where we watch good Star Trek. I think tonight's Renegades. I think that's going to be great. Karen Prime, hello one and all, and namaste. Oh my goodness, I do not. Your pictures are classic. I love that. Subhuman is here. Hey, Subhuman, hope you're being safe and doing well, sir. I cannot wait to see you again, probably in Vegas coming up shortly. Matt G. Hello, Matt G. Good to see you, bud. Good to see you. We've got Parrothead here who's calling me a potty mouth. Well, not so much today. Usually that's during video game time, right? Pluck Sword is here. Hey, Pluck Sword. We've got Brutal Morningwood. Well, I don't know if you do, but definitely hello and hail to Brutal Morningwood. Good to see you. Naughty Monkey O'Wrath. Naughty Monkey, good to see you. In less than 2 weeks, I don't want to hear any sniveling or whining. Yeah, I know. 3 weeks of waiting, not a big deal. I'm not sweating it, but I'm excited to get the game. So, and I will be one of those day one crazy humans that try to, immediately solve all the riddles and get through it and then go back and be a completionist because that's how I am. Probably I'll play through that game for the better part of a year. It's usually what happens. Let's see. I feel like I'm catching up. Pluck Sword, Naughty Monkey Rat. Zachariah 315. Hello. The Jack of all casuals saying hi to everybody here on the panel. Trinoculus is here. We've got Kashyyyk Queen. There she is. Amber, good to see you. I hope Ords is doing well as well. And you're taking good care of those monkeys. We've got Pop Culture Avenger. Thanks for showing up, Pop Culture Avenger. Good to see you. We've got Wes. Wes is lurking while working, which means he's listening on his phone. Thanks for doing so. Hope everything's going well, Wes. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks to Wes for helping me out with the video that we dropped today, too.
Yeah, by the way, script writing on the video that you dropped today, fantastic. I even put it in the comments. Wonderfully well done. Kathleen Kennedy is like a cancer that you just can't get rid of, but I'm sure we'll get into that a little later. Just awful. Apollo Patriot and his memes, as well as the Blue Trilec women are here. Thank you, Apollo Patriot. Appreciate you being here as well. Willie Woodward. Thanks, buddy. Good to see you. I think we're catching up. Roof Korean is here. 44 people in the chat, guys. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. And if you'd be so kind as to share the stream, I would appreciate that as well. And of course, the ultimate in community support. Tina Bojan is here. Tina, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Someday you're going to have to let me if that's Bojan or Bojan. I think it's Bojan. I just any way you want it pronounced, I'll try to do it. You're really here all the time, so I'm pretty pumped up. And Dweez is here. Good to see you, Dweez. And of course, Renegades tonight. I'm very excited for that. Qui-Gon Gimli, my goodness, guys, you're all rolling in here. Raquel Briggs is here. Cannot wait to see you Thursday with the return of Supreme Heretics Galactica actual podcast, which is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. I'm going to be rewatching that episode this evening, so I will be all caught up. There is the Shellback, guys. Today is the day for the Navy. The day we represent our appreciation for those that have served in the Navy. Shellback's a guy you want to send a hearty thank you to on this day, especially because, of course, TJC Shellback. A Shellback is a person in the Navy that has been able to cross the ocean divide. So anyway, check him out. He is he's a veteran, former Navy guy. So make sure you wish him a happy Navy Day, please. Let's see who else is here. I think I've caught up. All right, let's go, because otherwise I will talk to everybody all the time, and we don't need that. All right, here we go. So the next thing I want to talk about is primarily the thing that we were going to talk about no matter what, which is the fact that maybe the Blockbuster is dead. And what leads me to that conclusion, of course, is this story. Don't hold your breath waiting to see 007 film No Time to Die on streamer, as Cursory Talks died quickly. Now, I covered this story yesterday in the video that I released. And of course, I released that right before Gary went on his live stream and talked about it as well. But I did want to say that I think in one of the things that Gary said yesterday is correct. I think this may be an indication that the Blockbuster is gone. Now, Tom, since you are, since you were intimately familiar with all of this, a little bit more so than myself, How do you feel about that? Where do you think we are when it comes to blockbuster films? Because they could not sell this to the streamer. They didn't want to release it into a theater that wasn't going to have people in it. What do you think? Do you think that we've essentially put movies in a position where they won't be spending $250 million on a film?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is it something that can be? We're looking at a situation where we don't even know how much longer this is going to take. Now, a few things are in production, and of course, they can't start releasing stuff until theaters are open, and other things are in full swing of production. And they tried selling this movie, and the streaming services weren't willing to pay the money they needed for it. And that kind of goes along with what we kept saying is, there's no way that they can make the kind of money on streaming that they need to cover these $200-300 million movies, plain and simple. So yeah, you're right. Hollywood is going to have to come to some kind of crossroads here sooner or later. They're either going to have to buck up and help the theaters out. They're either going to have to buy the theaters out, or they're just going to have to sit on their fucking thumbs and wait like everybody else. Like, that's really all they can do. And it's not like people are going to starve for entertainment. It's not like, we're going to die if 007 doesn't come out in the next few months. You know what I mean? It's not a necessity.
Sure.
It'll fucking last. It'll last 2-3 years on a shelf.
Yeah, because we have no time to die anyway.
Actually, we have all the time in the world to die, it seems like. Not to be too dark and dour about it, but it's true at this point.
Yeah. No, but I look, I mean, they were offering this to Netflix, Apple, and Amazon, and other streamers as well that weren't reported here in this article, because they offered it to Disney for Hulu, and they offered it to All Asses as well. But they didn't want to part with the rights to the film outright. So essentially, it was a $600 million 1-year rental for whatever streaming service got it. Now, that's a lot of money. I mean, in the video that I made yesterday, how many original productions is that for Netflix or for Amazon or for Apple or for Disney? I mean, that's 6, 12, considering, most of those shows are now about 50 million.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on the show.
Well, true. But I mean, that seems to be what the average is, somewhere between 50 and 75 million.
For an entire season? That's high end stuff. Like, that's a thing. Like, you're talking.
Well, I mean, Narcos for Netflix, and
yeah, but what kind of stars and stuff do they have? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Because like shows like The Simpsons would cost like maybe $20 million an episode, but that's because they got to pay the main cast $1 million a pop per episode. The thing with like Picard, I'm sure he was getting a nice chunk. Plus the amount of money they were spending on Picard was not average. Because I can't imagine a show like a sitcom or something like Big Bang Theory costing that much outside of the cast costing.
Oh no, it's just it comes down to it comes down to salaries. I mean, when by the end of the Friends run, they were spending $25 million an episode on just their salaries. So because once they'd gotten over the $1 million mark, they were asking for even more. If I'm not wrong, I believe I've got it right, but I could be wrong. It just they spent an awful lot of money on these shows, but I think that the last time I'd heard that on their upper tier shows they were spending that kind of fun, that kind of money. I mean, think about how much money Disney's spending on Mandalorian. I mean, that has movie budget.
Yeah, I mean, Mandalorian, again, it's another situation kind of like Star Trek where you got a very high profile show. But we know Mandalorian's bringing in a hell of a lot bigger audience than Star Trek is,
and a lot of subs,
Yeah,
Willie's curious what my parameters for a blockbuster is, and thank you for the $2, Willie. I appreciate it, and I know you disagree with me to some extent, so I appreciate that. But and I agree with Jack of all casuals, but we'll get into that with this film here in just a second. What do you think? What are your parameters for a blockbuster, Tom?
Well, for me, a blockbuster is anything that's probably over $80 million. As far as the actual definition of a blockbuster is a movie that actually makes a lot of money. The whole point of what the words mean is it used to be referred to like, when like Jaws and Star Wars came out, you had lines literally around the block. I think the term was probably coined around the time of Godfather or Exorcist. because those are the two movies that I can remember that people actually lined up for, where you had, literal lines around the block, and that's kind of the whole terminology, and it means a big hit film. And now what we consider the blockbuster tentpole films may not necessarily be a quote unquote blockbuster if they don't make the money, but they're set up that way. Great examples would be every Marvel movie, every one of the Star Wars films. They're budgeted and they're set up to make a certain amount of money. And that's kind of where I think what we're talking about as far as like the blockbuster level films. So anything pretty much around $100 million or better.
Yeah, because to me, a blockbuster, the term blockbuster and tentpole are synonymous nowadays, and they have been for quite some time, probably the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah, and Jack of Casuals, Jaws was huge, yes, but Godfather and Exorcist actually had people lining up for him too. Those are the first two films I recall.
Basically, what's happening now, though, is that they're, instead of making great movies that might become blockbusters, they're actually trying to design blockbusters.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're into.
Then they're boiling them down to a formula, which doesn't always work. In fact, people are tired of the formulaic that's being made now, especially when it comes to the superhero genre. And DC never has pinned down their formula, but that's another story. But when it comes to the Marvel stuff, I don't know, Tom, do you think that's wrong?
Well, I don't like the word formula because I think it gets thrown at Marvel too much. For some reason, I really, and you can disagree with me or not, but
no, it's okay.
Outside of a few of their films, they really aren't as formalic as people make them out to be. They're very much, I think the reason that Marvel has lasted as long as it has, and it probably still has a bit more gas in it, is just about every one of their movies is a different movie. I mean, you look at like something like, Winter Soldier is a
but if you look
thriller.
At the...
Ant-Man is a heist comedy. Guardians of the Galaxy is a space opera comedy. Iron Man is an action film.
But if you look at the first one for each superhero, they're almost the same because your hero gets exiled in some way and then has to fight the evil version of himself that has betrayed him.
Pretty much Black Panther. Black Panther is the one that follows that, and that's where I think everybody says that. Ant-Man isn't like that, though.
Well, Iron Man and Thor is.
So kind of, yes.
But Ant-Man and Wasp.
People always overlook Captain America, Ant-Man.
But Ant-Man and Wasp. Yellow Jacket.
That was 2.
Yeah. That's a.
Well, I'm not talking about part 2. I'm not talking about part 2. I'm talking about part 1 because everybody always forgets part 1, and that's one where the origin story isn't the same formalic Marvel business. You have a hero who is, reluctant. He's not like Tony to where he's ready to, build a machine and go, Right. I mean, and you got Hulk too. We forgot about Hulk. That has a lot of sci-fi horror elements to it. I mean, I get it where, yes, you have the standard kind of comic book genre kind of thing, but
the hero gets exiled, is betrayed by someone he trusts or something, then has to fight that person who is the evil version of himself, pretty much same powers.
And that was the same trope that was created by Iron Man, the first movie that created the MCU as we see it nowadays.
Captain America really isn't like that, though.
No, that one is.
And neither is Ant-Man, and neither is
Ant-Man
Guardians of the Galaxy. Not the first
Yellow
one.
Jacket is just a mirror.
That's in the second movie, though.
But you're right.
The second one was the one with
the yellow jacket. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. No, that was the amazing guy. No, you're right. I'm sorry, Stieg. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I still felt like it was a bit different. I don't feel like I was watching the same movie again and again. I mean, but then again, the same thing can be applied to all the DC films because they've been trying to make Batman Begins ever since Batman Begins.
Yeah. Well, they haven't done a very good job of that either, and that's what I said. They never found their.
The Snyder cut's different. Trust me. I hope it's worth all the bullshit we went through.
Well, everything I've heard, there's going to be quite a bit. They're shooting for a few weeks. According
they
to
corrected me,
leaks.
McKinney. I forgot it was the ghost. I forgot. Yeah.
No worries. Anyway, the important thing is,
but she was a bit of a different bad guy. If you look at her, she was more of.
The second movies are different.
Yeah,
but but the first ones seem to follow a formula.
Well, you got to establish the character. And if the thing is, if you relied more heavily on the comic books, none of these would have that same feeling. But again, you have to be able to tell a story in 3 acts. At least that's the way Hollywood operates now. It's, the 3-act storytelling, which is fine.
Well, regardless, they're not going to be able to spend the kind of money they have been on Marvel movies. And even Disney Plus is not going to save that. Mulan's direct
oh man, that was awful.
Evidence of that. And that's, I'll tell you right now, that's part of the reason why I guarantee you Apple or Netflix or Amazon said, fuck you to that $600 million price tag. Because they saw that Mulan didn't do shit. Bill and Ted was only able to muster up about $40 million, which was good for them. But that's not good for a blockbuster film in the quotations of what we're defining it as. Go ahead.
They're $300 million into this film, Tom. $250 for the budget and $50 in delay money. And they're going to have to advertise it again, which is another $30 to $50 million. So, I mean, it's just like there is no win on this film. They're not going to break even. And right now they're trying to get it out of their pockets because it's costing them money to hold it on a shelf.
Yeah, and James Bond isn't as big as he used to be.
No, because they've run the property downward.
Yeah, and back in the 80s and even the 70s and all that, when a Bond movie happened, it was an event.
Well, and they brought it back to that standard. I mean, when Remington Steele took it over, his first film was a return to form. And when Daniel Craig's first film, Casino Royale, marked a close to a return to form, but still with some character defects that are not, well, when I say that, I mean the character didn't line up directly. But back to the subject of blockbusters.
Actually, Skyfall did really well in the box office.
It did, but it was a lot grittier than I would have preferred for a Bond film. It was very good. Don't get me wrong. Because
actually, if you go by inflation, the worst of the Bond films were probably Quantum of Solace,
which was terrible.
Casino Royale. Those are the two
really?
That are probably and I'm going by inflation here because, like way back in the day, like Dr. No only made $16 million. But that was in 63. And that's probably more like 160 million now.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going by that kind of a thing. And then, it keeps going up and up and up and up. It never went down. Bond is always
more, and they had more cinemas when Casino Royale came out than
well, that's true. Well, yeah, just the inflation part of it. That's the other aspect is, I mean, I'm looking at it as that. Yeah, but it still goes up no matter which way. Here, I'll show you.
I believe you. And when it comes to Bond, Tom, I think you'll have to agree with Qui-Gon Gimli down here in saying that they probably knew they couldn't make the money on a feminist Bond film because it didn't work for Terminator Dark Fate, a film that you like to point out, and so it won't work for Bond. Well, we all knew it wasn't going to work for Bond. Anyway, let's take a look at these numbers.
But yeah, basically the smallest jump you see here is probably between these two and these three are here.
Yeah.
Because this is actually, back in 2002, there was a bit of a patch between. And inflation and ticket prices brought this up. So that didn't play very well, if you ask me. And this did not improve much. That is not an improvement at all.
Here's a question, though. Do you think Terminator Dark Fate would have done better if they hadn't marketed it as a feminist movie?
No.
No.
I think the Terminator fucking franchise has been dead. I think whatever... If they were going to bring back Linda Hamilton, they should have done it 2 movies ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's too late now.
Yeah. No,
you're not enough of a pull, yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I'm looking at those numbers with, factoring for inflation, lifetime gross, because that's a lifetime gross. But, the performance jump in opening weekend was very high on Die Another Day. I mean, look at that. Now, I don't know what that weekend was. Was that a Thanksgiving weekend?
Possibly what it was, I think. November 22nd, that should have been, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Well, that was that was what, the third or fourth?
It was his last one. It was the last Dalton movie, yeah. Which is good, because I don't...
not Dalton.
Lost Remington Steele. Yeah. Yeah, the Dalton ones are the ones I hate with a passion. So,
really?
But anyway, oh, God, yeah.
I love them.
No, and that's fine. I hear that from a lot of people. I just, for whatever reason, I just could not get my arms around that Bond. But that's my own problem. That's not a problem with the
But
film.
I mean, looking at
Believe me.
Casino Royale to Quantum of Solace, they had a few more theaters, but they didn't make any more money, which is strange. But Spectre,
because
they
that
jumped it up, and then
Yeah.
Skyfall. Look at Skyfall. They made over $100 million more, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Well, it was a very gritty film. But it still wasn't, in my opinion, a return to form.
But then
And
the
you have
last
to
one,
remember,
Spectre, was the one that went down. See, actually,
Yeah, and
they're
they're-
out of order there.
also
They are way out of
consider,
order.
also consider that Sony Pictures was distributing all of the Daniel Craig films. It wasn't MGM.
Yeah, this is in order of the amount of gross.
Yeah.
That's why. But it
Yeah.
pretty
Also,
much
I
goes.
guess
Oh yeah,
the movies released
Living
at the same
Daylights
time
is,
would factor in too.
yeah.
basically the Living Daylights and For Your Eyes Only were big flops, basically for Bond. Looks
Yeah.
like here. I mean, not huge flops, but not great.
Really,
Yeah.
For Your
yeah.
Eyes Only was awesome.
85.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
they only mustered up 50 million in the 80s,
Okay.
which is not bad,
Yeah.
but it's not great. Same thing with the 70s. Bond kind of was a little lackluster.
Well, but again, I mean, it was a different time, and people were
Right.
headed to the theaters for different reasons.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, but those movies, they get a lot of teeth later on. I mean, I have all of the Bond films, including the one that isn't the Bond film. That's the Bond film.
But Dr.
And,
No
I-
is the one that has made the least, but that was way back in 63, so.
Yeah,
Well,
and that. Go ahead.
For Your Eyes Only was the one after Moonraker. So Moonraker probably put people off. It certainly put me off.
Yeah, but For Your Eyes Only was a great film. So.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's actually my favorite Roger Moore movie.
I love Her Majesty's Secret Service, but that's me. And of course that's
Yeah, I was about right
that's,
by my inflation, though.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Dr.
Matthew
No would have made
Berkland-
about 128 million today.
Yeah, and that would have been fine. Matthew Berkland's here. Hey, how's it going? Didn't see you sneak in from Istanbul there. Just wanted to say hi. Willie Woodward. You know what? Look, I know you disagree with me, and it's okay. Thanks for the $2 super chat. And you don't have to do that. Believe me, I'll try to get to everybody's comments if I can. Yeah, I don't think that you're going to see blockbuster films, at least not for a while. I don't think. Let's say that magically they released Black Widow right now. That thing would underperform like nobody's business. And all of these films that have any rumors to having any of this woke stuff in it, they're going to underperform. And no matter how much you protect the film, there's always going to be some leaks. And the minute you start to do that, or the minute an actor or actress opens their mouth and starts to spout off that this is an allegory for this, that, or the other thing, you're turning people away, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
and I don't think that's going
to, because more and more people are getting fed up with the woke stuff because people want to be entertained, not lectured.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think as soon as you start marketing a movie in terms of wokeness and all that, you're losing half the audience.
Yeah.
And Bill
Because
thinks this is.
It's off-putting,
Yeah.
you know.
And Bill thinks that 600 million is too insane. It might be. They might have
yeah.
been better off trying for 450 or 5, but you got to stop and think about how much was spent on the movie and how much they're going to need to make their money back. I mean,
Also, Netflix has suffered a bit on the money department lately.
Yeah.
well, I
Yeah.
was figuring Apple would probably be the one to pick it up because they really need to have something.
They need content.
Yeah, I mean that's why they're giving away Charlie Brown for free these holiday seasons because they're trying to get people on Apple TV. But no, Stieg was right. The big, I think the whole thing with Moonraker kind of killed the next few movies for Bond because
did.
Moonraker made 70 and the next few only made 40 or 50 million each until Remington
Roger Moore
Steele
shouldn't
took
have been in
over,
that. Yeah, Roger Moore shouldn't have been in that film, but it is what it is. Just that wasn't the right vehicle. I mean, he could have done another one. And it doesn't matter. We'll get onto it. But
No,
it is
but I
what
mean, it sounds insane, but really it isn't when you stop and think about everybody who's got to get paid back. They probably wouldn't have walked away with very much profit, even with $600 million.
Oh no, they wouldn't. I mean, Tom, you and I both know better than that. It's not going to be that much. They get right now the financing companies in their booty, and those investors are clamoring for their cash. So they had to go to some place. But here's the thing: this the streamers didn't even want to give him half of the money they were asking for.
Well, what I'm looking at here is like there's so many different entities that are part of Bond after everybody's paid off.
Yeah.
Whatever profit they make is going to get split up to so many small portions that like MGM would probably be lucky to walk away with 50 million kind of thing.
Yeah.
Universal probably get 100. The Broccoli estate would get 100. And then another 50 million would go to the other investors or something like that. That's my guess.
No, you're right. You're right on top of it, my friend. You absolutely are. And so, okay, Willie, you're right. I mean, a popcorn movie is kind of what we're talking about. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a popcorn movie.
Yeah, but a popcorn movie doesn't have to be expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you make a good horror movie, it's a popcorn flick, and that thing makes a buku load of money, but didn't cost very much.
Yeah, we're talking about the high profile, big budget.
Yeah. Fast and Furious 8, Star Wars 10.
All those.
Although, if somebody's going to go out there and do that, I mean, those are going to be the things that are going to, rake in the moolah. The moolah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think in general, the wokeness will cut away a lot of tickets, right? And then you have people that are getting tired of superhero movies because there's been so many in the last 10 years. Right?
That could happen, but then again, Westerns lasted so long, and I've got a feeling superhero movies could be, the next Western.
Yeah, it could be.
Because it just depends on if they're good or not, really.
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of franchises that have lost their fan base. So you don't have the guaranteed customers anymore.
That's a problem.
Star Wars has been making less and less. I mean, merchandise sale for Star Wars has dropped 80%.
Okay, I think Willie's really confused on this. I think this is the best way for me to explain this. The first Gremlins, the way it was budgeted, marketed, made, was made more like a popcorn film. The second Gremlins was made like a blockbuster movie. It cost 3 times as much, had a marketing budget like out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the difference there. Like, we're talking movies that you spend upwards of so much money and they have to make so much money, basically. Like, anything that's around $100 million or more.
Yeah.
RoboCop would have been considered a blockbuster, probably. Predator, I believe, made enough money to be considered a blockbuster now. But they were made as popcorn films. Terminator 2 was made to be both a blockbuster and did become one. Now, Dark Fate was made to be a blockbuster, but it flopped.
It flopped hard. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you, Nerd Cookies, for being here. Thank you, Elaine. Thanks for showing up.
And that's another great example. The first Terminator was just made to be a popcorn/horror flick. The second film was made to be a blockbuster. It was the most expensive film ever made at that time. In fact, they thought James Cameron would never make his money back on that movie. They thought the studio was stupid for spending $200 million on Terminator 2. They got lucky. They got lucky.
They got saved in the editing bay, but we can have that discussion another time.
Well, that's the thing. No movie had really made that kind of money outside of like Star Wars and shit at that point.
Well, if you look at the upcoming movies, though, for the next few years, which one of them will be a blockbuster? Because I have trouble seeing which one even stand a chance.
Well, that's a great question, Stieg. Yeah.
Maybe except for Avatar, because...
Oh, speaking of which...
Because the first one was a blockbuster, like it or not. Yeah. It was massive. And we're getting sequels to that, so Avatar 2 might be one.
They're being budgeted and filmed as blockbusters. Will they make their money, though? That's going to be the question. Yeah, now, I'm hearing rumors that the next gimmick that Cameron's going to bring with these is going to be the glass-free 3D.
Yep.
So you'll be able to see it in 3D without the glasses.
Yep.
But we'll see how that works out.
Well, it's supposed to work out using anyway, the tech behind it's actually not terribly sophisticated. The camera work and the editing stuff, but anyway, it will be cool if he's actually able to employ that. But he is spending a lot of money on those sequels. I have not gathered up all of the supposed expenditures, the estimates for these films. So I don't know that as of yet, Bill, but when I do, I'll be happy to.
500 or 600 million on spent on the shooting the two back to back. That's how they save some money.
Yeah, there's a lot of money being spent. That's just
they're almost done filming. Like he's already filmed 2, and he's almost done filming 3. So
yeah, it's almost finished, but it's gonna be crazy. Oh, hey, Donald's here. Marvel's formula is interconnectedness with other films and its franchise. Well, absolutely. I mean, that's part of their formula. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I do want to say thank you.
That's what Star Wars used to be with all the books and comics. They fit almost perfectly. Not so much now.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is outside of a few movies, I mean, really, Marvel hasn't been that bad up until the last couple. Like Captain Marvel being the worst of the worst, and then Ant-Man 2 wasn't that great. You know, it's a mixed bag for Endgame for some people, but I mean, other than that, they've been pretty solid outside of Thor 2 and Iron Man 3 and 2 have been the only other ones that I think people really had big issues with.
Well, I have an unpopular opinion on Marvel films. I did not like Civil War.
A lot of people do have unpopular opinions about some. I'm not saying
I didn't like it either.
I just think that people don't stop to think about what they've accomplished, what they've been able to do, the quality of films they've been able to put out, considering that they've done 20 plus movies in 10 years is never been done before. And not to that quality. I mean, we just looked at the 007. They weren't able to keep it together for 10 fucking years.
Nope.
Never.
But Captain Marvel, though, even though it's considered a bad one, it's still not the worst movie ever made. It's probably not.
That's
the
what I'm
worst
getting at.
Movie.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like even the worst of the Marvel movies are still not as bad as shit like Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Right. Yeah, I
would put Captain Marvel on Batman and Robin level, but again, just the technical aspects of that movie I can't deny. Like, it's an expensive fucking big ass movie, whatever,
Captain Marvel suffered a lot though from Brie Larson being so unlikable. The movie itself is as mediocre as it can get, right?
Well, it needed a rewrite.
Yeah, it was just boring.
Well, you have a setup there that they don't pay off at the end. And I don't know if Brie muddied the waters there or what, but not to go too deep into it. But the basic setup, you have with what's his face, her mentor, what's his name?
Jude Law.
Jude Law, yeah. Like the whole thing is he's trying to teach her how to be able to fight without her powers. Like that's where they fucked up, was like instead of having her just, obliterate him at the end and use her powers against him, they should have had a situation where she managed to lose her powers somehow and actually kicked his ass on her own. That would have proved that she actually, had more worth than if she just blasted him with her power. That's like some dude with a gun just coming in and blasting everybody and calling it a fair fight. That's not a fair fight.
Yeah.
And not only that,
Tom.
He's right. He's right through the whole fucking movie, even though she treats it like he's dragging her down.
But had she exercised her willpower, she didn't even have to lose the powers. Had she exercised her willpower and just done it on her own, that would have been, you would have had more respect for her. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's something she should have been able to do on her own. That's where I'm saying he's right in the beginning, and that's where you have the whole setup for that at the end. And that's where she goes, I don't even need my powers to kick your ass. That's what the line should have been, something to that effect. Instead of, the whole fucking stand up bullshit. Like, no.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And Cavatano Che, thank you for being here, my friend. You finished Az's video about not getting his new Warriors paperback. Yeah, nobody did. That thing was supposed to be on my doorstep today so that I could poke fun at it. And no, thank you.
Did you get yours or no?
No. They got released?
No. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Well, I thought my order got was supposed to get his too. Oh, did it? Maybe that's what Gary was posting about.
Yeah, I don't have it. So I got canceled. Amazon. Yeah. So I don't have it. Let's just put it in those terms because I can't show you what it said without doxing myself. But anyway, yeah. So there's that. So the age of men is over. The time of orc has come. Well, there you go. Thanks again, Nerd Cookies, for the $1.49 unicorn earlier.
That not going to work because orcs are racist now.
No,
you can't have bad guy orcs anymore.
No, they're not. 007's savings bonds.
I think that's what Gary's trying to say. Okay. All right. I think that's what he's trying to say is that, yeah, they're not releasing it. I don't know. It says temporarily out of stock.
I thought I saw Kibblesmith the other day acting tough on Twitter with a baseball bat.
He did. He was extra dumb with cheese. Yeah, he was. It was really funny. I wish I had the link to the tweet because that was very amusing. Anyway, it is what it is. That dude's crazy.
Okay, evidently it didn't come out, and Comixology was down at the time of this posting, so it's still not up on there either. So I don't know if it's even available yet, like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and like I said, it was supposed to be. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and we'll see what happens. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe my order was a glitch. It got canceled by a glitch. I don't know. Anyway, greetings, my excellent friends from Martin Acosta Santana. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see if anybody has any other updates on that. When they killed John Connor, they killed their movie. Yeah, Dark Fate was a disaster from the beginning. Linda is leathery. Yeah, she kind of was in that film. But she's tough as nails still. She was still a bad... but I don't know how to say that. She's just she was very tough, strong character. There you go.
It's actually a bit of a shame though, because the movie was so rotten, but Linda Hamilton and the blonde lady were actually good in it.
Maybe so. Adega Outlaw. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Adega Outlaw. Good to see you, my friend. Greetings programs from Cast in the Shadows. Good to see you, Mando Merc. All right, I think we're caught up with everybody who's rolled in. Yep, no, Chris the Bliss is here. Good to see you, Chris the Bliss. And oh wow, a couple of super chats here we'll get to real quick. Look at this. Let's see. Matt G says, Matt, you think they could go back to extended releases like they did pre-2000? Pre-VCR old films got re-released all the time. They absolutely did.
I've brought that up as a possibility, and I wonder if they see that now with all these re-releasing of the old films to cover the theaters that are open. That's a big possibility in the future. But then again, they're also fighting to get that window shortened before all this went down, so we'll see. I just feel like Universal jumped the gun thinking they were, doing so well, because I'm curious to see how the video sales did. I think they killed their secondary market doing this shit.
They did. At the minute you go to a PVOD release or something like that, your secondary sales are toast, and you
not
make
only that,
more money.
We haven't even brought up the piracy aspect. No. I mean, it's bad enough now with just cam versions getting out there ahead of time.
4K.
Well, yeah, right away, a pristine version is going to be available.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, even Bill and Ted got out there pretty early too, and that still did okay. So just imagine. Yeah. If one of these big blockbusters gets out online right away, the next, what if Black Widow gets out there right away? Nobody's going to pay for it, especially if you don't have Disney Plus and they do that or something.
Yeah. But there's no experience that replaces the theater. And I think that the movie going public knows that when it comes to these giant movies. I mean, you watching Avatar the first time sitting at home, that's not the same movie. It just isn't. It wasn't even when you got it home. On Blu-ray, right? It wasn't the same movie as the movie you saw in the theater. So it's really hard to convey that.
Actually, I was one of the few who didn't get suckered into it.
Yeah, I did, and I enjoyed it in the theater, and then I got it.
I have it on Blu-ray is because I got it with my 3D TV.
Oh, I got it on sale too. So yeah. Okay, I got another super chat. Did you hear that? Yeah, we did. Yes, McKinney, Kibblesmith acting like an internet tough guy on Twitter, and he was. I wish I could find the tweet. I'm not. That's not the kind of stuff I want to do on this show, but it's but he was being pretty silly based on any observation of his behavior on the dating show, would indicate exactly what kind of personality he is. And whether or not he would be tough. He was basically drooling over the guy that was on the show with him. That was a prince, some kind of form of royalty. It was really funny. So Just like he was with the
surprise.
Yeah, no, not well. He was doing the same thing with Hiddleston in that photo that he was in, where he's talking about. It doesn't matter anyway. No one has them. I think Marvel didn't ship them. Okay, thank you, Jack of Casuals. Yeah, I was going to say my order got canceled. Yeah, my order got canceled because it's embarrassing.
Gary was talking about it, and I think that's what I was checking on the post. Is they're saying it's not even, it wasn't even available on Comixology yet.
Yeah. I'm amazed they have the brass balls to release the Warriors book. Yeah, Karen Prime, I don't think they did. That thing will never get out there. It's the laughing stock of the comics industry. Hey, another monster. Good to see you, my friends. Uh-oh. Did you hide a comment? You're fired, McKinney. Well, you're not fired, McKinney. McKinney 90, guys. Great artist, great creator, really fun draw streams with Mads, Mama Bear, and with Bruce Lombardo. Those are a lot of fun to watch and listen to while he draws. He's an amazing artist. In fact, I commissioned a piece of work that's on my one of the designs that he did is on my Teespring store, along with some other designs from other artists. And that's what I want to do. I want to feature other artists' stuff on my stuff that I commission. So, in fact, I've got some new art coming from both McKinney and a couple other artists. So I'm pretty pumped. Oh, look at Script Doctor. Look at it. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, my friend. Absolutely love having you here. I want you on one of these. So whenever you get to your schedule where you could, drop into one of these, that would be great. I hope everything's going well for you, sir. And I'm appreciating you suffering on others' behalfs for all the Star Trek stuff that we don't want to watch in person. So thank you. Sarah Connor is a bad mamba jamba.
Yeah, I've argued before. She's one of the greatest mothers in cinema history, right next to Mrs. Voorhees. Only two moms I can think of offhand that'll kill for their kids.
Well, the alien queen.
Yeah. But she's a creature.
Yeah. Still a mother.
I know, but I'm talking about, strong female positive role models.
Terminus S for $2 says, I doubt Kibbles has the balls to use that bat. Well, I don't know if he can swing it. Just getting it up to his shoulder might be a challenge. But anyway,
he swings it all right.
I'm more afraid of his writing than his baseball bat.
Oh, gosh, you guys are so great. Man, the chat's been on fire. You guys are awesome. Thank you all. There's 58 of you in here right now. We've gone up and down, but we've stayed over 50 for most of the show, and I appreciate and thank each and every one of you. If you want to throw a share out there, please feel free to. We're going to move on to the next subject, though, at this point, other than saying Chihuahuas have more bite than Kibbles. That's awesome. Oh, I love our chat. All right, let's move along. We're going to move along to our next story that supports kind of what we're talking about, and the fact that we know pretty much for sure, based on the cash on hand, that AMC's on the way out, guys. We've been talking about it for over a week, I think. Tom, you and I mentioned it last week. Do you have AMC's in Norway, Stig?
Nope.
No, AMC's not one of your things. Do you have Cineworld or Cinemarks or Regals?
Not where I live. No, we have our own cinemas.
Okay. All right. You have your own companies, your own regionals then. Okay. I mean, I prefer my regional to AMC. But that's just an opinion. And here's the deal, guys. This place is going bankrupt. I've got a couple of stories on this. Basically, AMC's in big trouble. They've been a huge chain for a long time. Took a lot of money out of foreign markets to expand, primarily China. They rely on a steady supply of studio films. And right now, they have not even gotten close to where the revenue that they need to generate just to keep their doors open. As you can see here on this chart, their total box office revenue is substantial, well over, 10, 11, sometimes in 2018, almost $12 billion. And 2019 was a banner year for film. So I don't know how their revenue fell from 2018. I wouldn't even begin to speculate on that without doing more research. But in 2020,
because the studios keep more money and more money all the time.
Oh, because of their cut, they got movies, it was 2019 took it. Yeah, well, Disney had the most influence in 2019 and the most number. I
guarantee you they were getting like 80% opening weekend of Lion King and Aladdin and all that shit. Yeah.
Well, and all the Marvel films. 2019 was the Marvel films. The rounding out of.
Oh yeah, they were definitely getting a big chunk of that. They were way they weren't.
Yeah, and so yeah, they took a bigger chunk. So maybe that's why the overall revenue fell. But then you look at 2020, guys. We're coming up on the end of October. It's almost the first, November 1, and we're looking at under $2 billion in revenue.
It's because nothing has been out except for
That's my point.
like 5 movies, basically. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and that's the problem. They have no influx of cash. They had no plan. No, actually, no company had a plan for what we're doing right now. Of course, this is all government sponsored at this point, based on the numbers. I don't want to go into that. Someday I will on somebody else's stream that I'm allowed to do the political stuff and start to talk about some of the science and then the absolute.
The bottom line is
numbers.
yes, all these. I guarantee you, all these companies are probably going to fold, but the buildings are still going to be there. When things do finally settle down, the need and the want for these kind of entertainment outlets is going to come back. It's just another company is going to swoop in and buy them out when they're dirt cheap.
Well, this company, this company is looking at Chapter 11 already. They, and they
you know what they'll probably do? They'll file Chapter 11. They'll sell everything to a new company that they create of their own for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I would do. No, you're 100% right. You're not. Your speculation isn't wrong. Somebody's going to come in.
Hollywood does all the time.
Well, studios, absolutely. You get in production companies, especially. Production companies are, Jiffy Pop. They, put them on the stove, they rise, you get a new production company, and then poof, they blow up, and then you do it all over again. But AMC's market capitalization is around 1.1 billion at this time last year. They right now they're at 325 million. It's 325 million. The amount of money that they owe right now is ridiculous compared to the amount of cash or their market capitalization. Their cash on hand is going down like it's got a lead weight tied to it and headed to the bottom of the ocean. It's not great. Yeah.
Now is AMC like a franchise, or is it more like all the theaters are owned by the same company?
They're owned by an investment group.
Because what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And they're traded, but which is why this is the important part. They're going to offer 15 million shares that they're selling to Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, but knowing full well that they're going to. This company is going to flip upside down. It's not going to go well. And their two primary markets, New York and Los Angeles, are still closed. The theaters are not open.
That's on the governors and whatnot. And again, I feel bad a little bit for the theaters in this scenario because they didn't do nothing. Like, it's not like their fault. And really what sucks is the studios do need the theaters more than the theaters really need the studios in the end, because the theaters that have been able to be open have been just fine.
Yep. And they've been doing good.
I've brought it up 100 times now that, my local drive-in has opened up for the first time in 4 fucking years or 5 years because they've been trying to sell it and they haven't been able to sell it. But now with all this, they've had concert, they'll show them on the screen. They've had concerts every other weekend. They've had, double bills. They've had new movies, old movies. They've been going just fine. And I've heard the same thing for other local, smaller theaters that aren't parts of chains. They're doing just fine. So this is, part of them, the fact that their 2 biggest markets have been forced to be closed. And I'm willing to bet Chicago's closed too, which is probably the 3rd or 4th biggest market out there too. So that's the other problem you have here is I have a feeling if these places were able to be open, they would have. Obviously, it's pretty shitty. Well,
yeah, and in some of them could survive. I mean, AMC relies on the bigger popcorn movies, but the regional chains are doing fine, and the drive-ins that you've been talking about, and that I thought was amazing that we're reopening drive-ins in this country. Those things started to flourish. I mean, heck, even Walmart was doing kind of a drive-in movie theater in their parking lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of makeshift ones I've noticed all over the country.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. And some of these multiplexes are big enough that they can. As long as there's not like a shit ton of movies coming out, that's why I don't understand why they didn't just kind of do a soft open in more places for Tenet. Because with as many screens as most of these places have, you can accommodate now with digital, you don't have to send out 12 reels to a theater, so you can actually have Tenet playing in every single theater and have people spread out and probably make a good chunk of change. Not like they used to, don't get me wrong, but they've also been able to keep a little bit more of the money on the back end when it comes to like when they're showing like Empire and shit like that. Because that's why they don't have to charge as much, because they get a bigger chunk of that, and the studio only charges a small percentage compared to what they get for the overall when it comes to a brand new movie, which is generally anywhere between 60 or 80% or more. Like we know for the Star Wars films, it's been 90% across the board pretty much since the back in the day of Lucas. Because I think he started 75% with Phantom Menace, and then it was up and up and up. So yeah.
Well, but he also made them guarantee him a certain number of screens for a certain
amount
of time.
Of screens, and he had 14 weeks or 12 weeks, I think it was. He was forced to take. And all that.
Yeah,
shit.
But there were some theaters. Think about it. There were some theaters that were running Empire for almost a whole year.
Well, more than that, in some places, like there's that famous poster for the first film where the birthday cake poster was made specifically for theaters that had been showing Star Wars nonstop for over a year already at that point. And I think the one theater that finally closed where it showed nonstop, I think it was 3 years or something like that.
It wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
Well, no. This was like years ago, but I mean, like they showed it for like 3 years nonstop back in '77. I'm talking about. From 77 to like 80 when Empire came out or whatever, this one theater had showed it for consecutively, and they had gotten the Guinness record or whatever it was, and I think it was like 2.5, 3 years or whatever. They showed it straight.
There was one local theater not too long ago that was showing Jedi like continuously for a very long period of time. I'll have to look that up, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Dweez says 15 million shares. If 2020 has taught us anything, you better off be buying toilet paper. That's true, because toilet paper is easy. Try buying Clorox wipes. Actually, if you can find Clorox wipes, probably a good purchase right now. Anyway,
don't remind me. I had to clean my bathroom this morning.
That's a rough job. That's like that once a week chore. That's like, ugh. Save a theater by renting your own. Well, people are doing it, and I think a theater rental is a good idea. I think it could definitely help them out. But what's interesting is Forbes is even driving the bus on this idea behind this bankruptcy, and calling it out, saying it was a lack of vision which is driving them to bankruptcy. Well, I don't know if it was a lack of vision. I think it was a
fucking pandemic, you dumbass.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want? It's got the company doesn't have that much money. It costs them $100 million in just to operate, or just to exist. They have expensive leases because most of those are build and lease back circumstances. So
that's what I was asking about the whole franchise thing before. Yeah,
they talk to a developer. As a corporation. They talk to a developer. The developer builds to suit for them, and then they sell it to the development company that manages the area that wherever they built a mini mall, a retail complex, whatever. And then they lease it back for a prescribed period of time at a prescribed rate. So it guarantees income for the real estate developer or whoever is managing that area at the time. But at the same time, I mean, those buildings aren't owned primarily by AMC in most cases. So that's how that works. And so if that's what you're getting at, Tom,
that was my question was like, because if they don't own the buildings, that's a bit of a different situation. If they don't own the land and the buildings, like that's like how like McDonald's and all these other franchises work. So normally that's what's strange. And it's set up that way so the company can't fail. You know what I mean? Like, like if one store closes, then everything doesn't collapse, like that's the whole point. I mean, but no, like Qui-Gon Gimli's bringing up a pretty good point. He says he saw a video that they can't have a Blockbuster without the coast. I blame New York and California for not opening up. And yeah, that's basically what I'm saying is those are your two biggest markets right there. They account for a huge portion of any weekend's box office because you have the two most population dense condensed areas, or however you want to put it. And then, like I said, Chicago and, a few other places come up right behind. But yeah, I mean, especially New York and California, because they're the art districts. I mean, they're the hub of these things. I mean, hell, it used to be where you had East Coast and West Coast movies. I mean, that's where guys like Scorsese come up on one side, and then you had like guys like Francis Ford Coppola and shit come on the other side. You know, I mean, it was just the way it was back then, kind of like how rap music started, you know. But now it's just a kind of a everything, you know. But no, like it's we may get back to that kind of a thing. I don't know. I doubt it, but I think this the biggest thing is going to be the actors taking less money first. That's going to be the big thing.
They're in for the shock of a lifetime. And that's why I honestly said in I guess 2 videos ago now that celebrity culture is over. It doesn't exist anymore. We haven't had a movie star like you and I've said 100 times. Steve, do you think that we're going to have the celebrities the way we did the movie stars that we did before? Yeah.
No, because in the last few years there's been an increase with the celebrities getting way too big-headed and pretty much assuming that everyone just agrees with them because they're a celebrity, and it's getting obnoxious, and it's starting to backfire because I see a lot of Hollywood stuff on Twitter now and other places, and people downright telling the celebrities to shut up.
Well, we got a defund Hollywood shirt, for fuck's sake. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm ordering that this week. So, yeah,
their hypocrisy is getting so visible.
Yeah. Well, okay, and that was the final. This is the final. You perfectly led me into the final thing I want to talk about. Spend about 20 minutes on before we say goodbye to everybody and send them over to other people's shows. Because I think Latino Slant will be going live here in less than a half an hour. But cancel culture right now is being called out by celebrities.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's just because it started biting them in the ass. They're starting to get eaten up by the same beast they've fed others to for years. And now it's they're running out of people to feed to the beast, and it started eating them.
Yeah. So
now they're squirming. It's going to be interesting though to see how a lot of their quotes from the past will backfire on them. And it's gonna. So they're going to lose more ground. I mean, throw dirt and you lose ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think this kind of really speaks to the whole deal with that transparency tube thing we saw. Because the guy who created that was squirming on a podcast last night trying to justify this bullshit.
He was.
And it's another tool of their, to go along with this, it's another tool of the agenda agency or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I haven't come up with a word for it, but I don't like generalizing terms. So I hate just saying like SJWs and things like that. But it is this alt-left movement of a fairly large group of different sect groups that are attacking, everybody, not just, another side, but everybody pretty much.
They're attacking people for this and that so they won't get attacked themselves. Right?
Right.
Well, absolutely.
That's the mentality behind it.
And then you have a problem where, like, certain things like, Antifa, where, like, if somebody was to, call them an actual terrorist group or something like that, half the country would lose their fucking minds. Well, actually, right. I don't think quarter, maybe.
No, I don't think it'd even be that much because, look, I mean...
Well, you got to remember a lot of them would just use it to their own fucking ends, too. They may not feel that way, but...
Well... I can't deny that. That's likely.
Yeah, it's basically this. They go, "Oh, you guys can't call me a racist because I've been attacking racists for 2 years, even though they weren't racist. But still, it's a shield."
Yeah.
And they're creating monsters.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And not only that, they're rolling.
Not only that, they're creating even more. They're creating even more problems in and of the fact that the thing that that's driving this is CRT, and CRT is actually essentially just advanced racism. and it's finally being called out for what it is. But you know,
no,
that's
I probably
not
jumped off like what you really wanted to talk about here, but no, like
no, it's perfect.
you know, I think that goes with this whole elitist attitude that these celebrities have been having, you know, where they come out and tell us what to do, how to think, how to dress, how to act, how to vote, all these things, how to eat, everything. They think they have this fucking, you know, right, and they sit there and they even talk about how they have this platform and they're going to use their platform and it's important that they use their platform. It's like, guess what? A lot more people have a platform, and I think this is going to go back to getting us back to the whole point you're trying to get to, Culture, is I think the age of the celebrity is dead because everybody's basically a celebrity now. When everybody's famous, nobody's famous.
Yeah, I think that might be true.
Would you agree if I said that a lot of celebrities have mistaken their platform for a pedestal?
Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. And not only that, it's self-grandizing themselves, if that's the word I'm looking for. They're making themselves out to be much more important than they really fucking are in the grand scheme of things.
Which is narcissism 101.
Exactly. It's not like, okay, here's a different scenario. You got like actors and stuff who will go to other countries and actually do the stuff. You know, they'll actually get on the ground. They'll, you know, get involved, not just financially. And you don't hear them generally bragging about it. But then you got the other ones who actually, you know, they make sure that, like Brie Larson, there's a photo opportunity whenever they do something good to make sure it helps their fucking image. It's all about their fucking image, and they think they're on the right side of history. And this whole thing goes along with cancel culture, is they think they're above it, they think they're untouchable until they aren't. But then they feel like, oh no, it's happening to me now. And then they finally realize the ramifications of what they're doing. Only I don't feel so bad for people who live in palatial estates who should have been saving their fucking money. You know, that's not my fault you bought 12 cars, just like Will Smith's dad told him. Why'd you buy 8 fucking cars? You only got one butt. And that's where he blew all his early money.
Kind of like the mayor in Jaws.
Kind of. Cognitive dissonance to a point, but not really. I mean, they're almost aware of it, but it's... And that's the thing, is I'm not making excuses for them, but I understand, you know, where they get this idea of where, you know, I should be using my power and my place to do good. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, don't get me wrong. But when you're somebody sitting in a palatial state acting like you're living in a fucking prison, but then you got to tell other people, oh, you just need to buck up and hang in there. Well, guess what? Those people that you're telling to buck up and hang in there may not have a place to live next month.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't been working for 6 months.
Yeah.
Or they've been overworked for 6 months.
Yeah, and it's not going to get it's not there's a lot of issues at play here, and you know, obviously the commentary that started because of Chris Pratt.
And I figured that's where you're getting to, and I was going to get around to that. But again, you have a situation where, okay, if an actor gets canceled, guess what? They can definitely probably go work at Barnes & Noble. I highly doubt they're going to have any problem getting a job someplace. But when a normal person gets canceled, chances are they're not going to have an easy time finding a job, because that's usually on a local level. But now when you look at something like Chris Pratt, who did absolutely nothing fucking wrong.
Didn't do anything.
Didn't do a goddamn thing. And then this is a situation where they're just they're creating the monsters. You know, Steve talked about they had a monster to feed. They ran out of, you know, sacrifices to feed the monster. So they had to start looking at each other and pointing fingers and start deciding who they're going to feed the monster. And then they just start creating monsters so they, you know, have somebody else to feed to that same monster. Because if you don't make Chris Pratt the bad guy and cancel him, then what else do you do? Then you got to start looking at them.
Right. And that's the thing, is they don't realize that their own hypocrisy, when it will come home to roost, and people will come after them for whatever bad take that may have created in the first place. And Hunkame says celebrities are weird because Hollywood is weird. Live in LA. We Angelinos, who are plenty weird, think Hollywood is crazy. Well, good. You're in good company, because the rest of us think they're freaking bananas.
Yeah. You know, the election is starting to put a spotlight on celebrities too, because they're ignoring, you know, bad things Biden has said and done in the past. And so, you know, you have the hypocrisy again, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's absolutely disgusting. The hypocrisy and the things that we find out about celebrities on the back end after we've been lectured to, but it's the same everywhere. I mean, we all have a little bit of hypocrisy because, there are certain things that we'll violate our own rules on, but for the most part they're little things about whether or not you're going to have butter on your toast because you're trying to cut out, fats or whatever it is, trying to cut your cholesterol, but there's a little bit of hypocrisy in everybody, but when it's, over major issues, things that you've called other people out on, that's something else entirely. And that always disgusts me. It always bothers me. But it is what it is. I mean, and then we've got, this is Latino Slant that I've highlighted and I put in the chat a few minutes ago, because I still believe he's doing a live show. I could be wrong, but it's a conversation he and I had just a little bit ago. If not, there are plenty of other people that are going to be live anytime now, so we can direct you over there. But yeah, poor Larson. She should direct low budget indie films. Her unattractive personality would shine in that.
Another monster is like totally me tooing nerd cookies, but I can't say I wouldn't either. So, but he is a Swede, so go after him, Steve, if you want.
Yeah, you can go get this. You can go get the Swede if you want to. I like another monster, but it's fine.
He's like, I prefer nerd cookies, he says.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I said I tolerate him.
Oh, okay. That's a high bar, man. Yeah. That's another monster. You have achieved success, my friend. You've reached tolerance. So Qui-Gon Jinn says what everybody was thinking, and I think this comment may have been redacted. I'm not sure, but Chelsea Handler proved how racist the left is when she told 50 Cent he couldn't vote for Trump because he was black. She should have been canceled for that. Yeah. And that's the very thing that they're worried about, because what's her name? Sarah Silverman, who, used to be funny, and I found her interesting in a weird way.
She's a bimbo. Oh, sorry. Probably gonna get a ban now.
That's dumb. Maybe we'll wrap it up with that commentary in a minute, Steve.
I have 3 days left on my Twitter suspension for saying bimbo. Seriously, I got a week for saying the word bimbo.
Yeah, and I pointed that out as part of a tweet against a child chasing person that was also a preschool teacher, which they finally did. Not very long afterwards, their account was removed. Yeah, that was a weird day yesterday. But yeah, you're 100% right, Qui-Gon. I mean, it is what it is. Only the left can be racist toward. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. They're always racist. What do we got?
It's worse than that though, because they're pretty much kind of trying to deny black people's right to be individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This is a smart thing. Tolerance is next to godliness, perhaps. We just need more of it in the world. We used to have a bunch of it. We used to be lectured about being more tolerant of a certain group of people. It's just
tolerance wasn't a bad thing. There was nothing wrong with it.
No,
and that's really what it should be about. It's like, yeah, we needed to be able to tolerate everybody's right to be able to do what they want to do in their lives, as long as they're not hurting anybody or doing anything majorly illegal.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
That's why
disagreeing doesn't mean mortal enemy.
No,
there's tiers between that, or there used to be.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, Steve doesn't like New Nightmare, and I'd like to stab him in the face because of it, but I'm not gonna.
That's okay.
It's not worth it.
I wouldn't mind getting stabbed in the face and get a cool scar.
I knew I was going to say something like that.
Qui-Gon Gimli. They went after Gina Carano again, and some of them didn't have pronouns in their bio. They probably didn't know why they shouldn't like Gina when they went after her because everyone else. I know, dude. I know. It's like, let's get on the offense train, or I don't know what that's called.
They're worse than a knitting circle. They really are. Yeah. I mean, it's worse than, the little biddies or the girls on the schoolyard who are like, we're not talking to Suzanne this week. Yeah, she's a bitch. She's wearing purple.
At least the knitting circle is productive.
Yeah, at least they make shit usually.
Yeah. It's just we're in an environment now that is a little bit is a little bit on the edge of coming back to the right direction. Had we not ended up with the icky fluey thingy that we got right now, maybe the things that Tom and I were talking about 6 months ago would be coming to fruition when in entertainment and in our society. I just, you know,
Yeah, that's the thing. The longer this drags on, the longer it's going to take to get back to normal.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks like, you know, as soon as everything's over, it's just going to turn right back to normal. No, it's going to take some time. And there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be gone for a while.
There's, you know, we can complain about it and all, but there's things we can do as well. Because if that noise keeps bothering us more and more, you know, shut it out. Do something else for a while. You know.
Well, and I mean, and right now, I bet you're not missing Twitter at all, are you, Steve?
No, I'm reading books and comics, playing. I'm replaying Knights of the Old Republic and having a blast.
KOTOR.
Fun fact: Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1 has a bisexual character in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not news to me.
Followers.
Yeah, not news to me, but to other people. Well, that's the problem. Anyway, this is a funny line from Accidental Tourist. Thanks for showing up, Accidental Tourist. Bimbo, Liver and Shirley want their script back. Absolutely. Why are we being offended by that? You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah, nobody can believe he got sexist
and stuff.
It's even a Jim Reeves song.
Oh, this is the other thing. Look at this. This is illegal, by the way. Remuneration in any way is illegal when it comes to voting. So,
it was probably said as a joke, though.
Who knows? I'm not a fan of any of that anyway. Wait a minute. Don't forget the great knitting outrage of 2019 after someone knitted manga. You're kidding me, memes. No way. By the way, dude, memes is killing it on his channel. I'm digging it. Thanks, man. It's you got some. You're knocking them out of the park with your. Let's think about it this way kind of stuff. I like that. Like I said, I'm a man without a political party, at least not a major one. So it's really hard. Oh my goodness, the pumpkins have returned. Ken Jack Ben, good to see you, my friend. Well, look, at this point, we all realize why the elites are the elites are worried about the cancel culture, because it is coming for them, and it has been. And now they're being scrutinized in a way that they find uncomfortable, despite the fact that they fueled this all to begin with. But anyway, any final thoughts on any of the subjects today, gentlemen?
I like boobies.
Okay, well,
Police Academy 4 is amazing.
It is. It's a very underrated sequel.
Yeah. I created the intro for Christie's movie stream. I just have to put sound effects and audio behind it.
Well,
it's nothing special.
Did you use the horror
thing?
Here
first, though?
I did.
Just in case.
Again?
Yeah. She
Say again?
Fucks it up. He goes, you should show it here first in case she fucks it up, I think is what he's trying to say.
Oh, yeah. No, as soon as yeah, I'm sorry, Steve. Yeah, no, I will I tell you what, I'll preview it somewhere else. Now I have a 3-minute commercial I want to run at the end of the stream, and if you want to stick around and watch it, that would be great. It's for author Stephen Walton's new book. I really want to promote that. He's got about half his campaign time left on Indiegogo for volume 2 of the Fandom Menace. I promoted it in my video at the end of my video yesterday. I really want people to get an opportunity to check that out. It's quite interesting. The video that he put together, I essentially just recrafted and cut and added people in for him. And I think he did a great job with that, not to mention with the book itself. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited for the up and coming 5th wave, guys. We've got a couple of founding members and the McCabe twins from Australia. So be sure you check out their channels as well. Tom, you got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no kidding. I plead the fifth. Yeah. Tom, anything you guys got coming up? I know that Tuesday is a big day. We got the High Council tonight,
High
right?
Council tonight with Andrew Hawkins of In Search of Darkness and In Search of Tomorrow and stuff like that. So we're going to talk Halloween and scary movies and stuff. And yeah, just take your guys' questions. And then tomorrow on Meet in the Morning, who the fuck do we got? Tom Conkle tomorrow. Tomorrow morning. And then Friday, Andrew's also going to join us on the morning show as well. So there you go. That's our week so far. We got, I think, a Bond video coming out.
Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be cool. I think that's
we dropped
appropriate.
one
We
earlier,
just
before, and then we just dropped one here before this show. So yeah, if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out about Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, not good news, kids.
Got that cool animation in it that I made.
It does, absolutely. And
with the help of
Stieg, now that you're going to be out of Twitter jail in 3 days, anything you got going on? How close are you to 450?
I don't know. I can look.
It's all right. I just want you to get there, my friend. I just want you to get
I don't want to get to 450, then I have to make another video. But yeah. Let's see. I am
the one
at 408 subs.
All right. So we need to get you. How many more is that? 42? 42 more subs. All
41.
Right. Let's get. Okay. 41. Let's get. No. I want a new top 5. Tom, do you want a new top 5?
I always want a new top 5.
All right. Me too. Hey, Bones
then
here.
You guys have to work for it because I'm not doing shit.
I may have to create 48 accounts. Don't forget Dark Council. Yep, we got it. Oh, look at this. Sub to Stieg. Thank you, Script. You're a scholar and a gentleman, my friend.
There you go.
Thank you so very much.
Get on it.
Warner Brothers animation such as Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, so culturally alone, they can't even do a remake of Tiny Toons. Yeah, well, Animaniacs looks like it could go either way. I was really excited until the very end. So we'll see. We'll see.
I have a little bit of news, though.
Yeah.
Since 1979, Norwegian television has been showing that Christmas Disney show called what is From All of Us to All of You with Jimmy Cricket.
To all of you, a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah. That one has been shown every year on Christmas Eve since 1979, and now it looks like it's going to go away because probably Disney Plus is behind it.
Yeah, it's probably on Disney Plus then.
Yeah, so which is a shame. It's like your Charlie Brown thing, right?
Yeah, that's just heartbreaking. So.
Good thing I got my 4K Blu-rays, huh?
I know, but it's still not right. It's not right. Anyway, yeah, and another monster is granted a curse upon you, Stieg. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to run that 3-minute commercial and change. I don't know if
cartoon quick. It's only 9 seconds.
Oh, please, absolutely, yeah, do it.
This is what I worked at. This is part of the video we got today. It's
so
the animation of when Amy Pascal got upset with Kevin Feige. This is supposedly a true story. He's coming in making demands about Spider-Man. We want to put him in our movie, you know, that kind of thing. And then she's like, "Hey, fuck up." Bitch threw a sandwich at his head.
And she really did. That's a real story. It's a real story. More like frisbeed it at him though. But
I don't know. I just animated it with the help of Wes. He helped me cut out the heads.
So Wes
is so great.
Did you see the witch that they found in the Sahara Desert?
No.
That was a sandwich.
Oh! Go Stieg. I will say this before we go. I did notice the news that they confirmed Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah.
And I think I know why. I think the 4K Blu-ray probably sold pretty good. That's why. Because that was released 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
but you can't recreate the.
I
you know
don't
what?
care. I've never seen the original, but I'm just saying. I just noticed that. And I'm surprised more of us ain't talking about it. I've never seen the fucking movie.
But
Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan might be directing Creed 3.
Oh, really?
Yes, I saw it today. I have a news source that I check out.
Oh, and Mecha goes live in 50 minutes, guys, or so. So keep that in mind, or very soon. I don't know. I just got a notification, so that would be awesome.
I think she's
all right, guys.
Going at 3:00 Central. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So she's coming up soon. So if I'm wrong and Latino Slant's not live today, let me know. That might be Friday. I could be thinking of again. My schedule is insane, so. Sometimes I remember things that don't exist, so that's bad. Anyway, everybody have a lovely day. I'm going to say my final goodbye before we run the commercial and then the outro. And this isn't really a commercial, guys, or even a promotion. I'm obviously not getting paid for it, but I want everybody to have solid attention on what Steven's done, because he's truly an incredible person, great leader, wonderful writer.
He's a great person, guy.
She's fantastic. Anyway, so you. Anyway, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, and until next time, guys, bye.
The main thing is to protect these characters. Make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them. And that the universe of Star Wars continues to grow.
By 2018, far-left extremists in Hollywood had been perverting long-established, profitable science fiction properties as platforms to espouse divisive social propaganda. The vision of these creatives was to repurpose established franchises in the hopes of indoctrinating viewers into the bigoted groupthink of the American far-left ideology. Insanely wealthy producers and adult pretenders set to shame any fan who would not capitulate to their false narratives of virtue, using long-established weight in the legacy media to drive online hate mobs to attack any who dared speak against the woke narrative. Yet there were those who would not kneel before this oligarchy of money, media, and extremism. Those who had known the truth. Fandom is for everyone. The Fandom Menace Volume 2 covers the events of the year 2018 as a group of independent creators rose up together, inspiring the Star Wars fandom to speak out against the flagrant misuse of a property that was not meant to inspire division, but hope. Volume 2 will cover the voices who spoke out against cancel culture, such as the Gospel According to Mark with a C.
Thank God for Star Wars fans. If only Ryan Johnson had said the same thing.
Mecha Random 42.
Star Trek, to me, is a hopeful, optimistic view of the future.
Stephanie Janicek, Smuggler's Cantina.
They're not answering your questions at the real fans.
With chapters written by Jesse Milestone of Mindless Entertainment.
The thing you're about to watch is probably going to involve a lot of yelling and a decent amount of swearing.
Itchy Baka of Disney Star Wars is gone.
But this doesn't explain why, after Disney's acquisition of Star Wars, George would attend the premieres of The Force Awakens, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and Solo.
And the Overlord himself, Dictor Van Doomcock.
Greetings, my friends. Our pop culture is under assault by corporations who would rather destroy our cultural heritage than build respectfully upon it.
This is an historical documentation of a group of people in the late 2000 teens who would not bow to the very worst in humanity, seeking to separate us along political lines while using our beloved modern mythologies to do so. They did not kneel. Will you? The Fandom Menace Volume 2, Rise of the Rebellion.
Bye.